guys both so much for sitting down with me today to talk about Only Theater Center's Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
For the benefit of those watching, I'm Alyssa Kluski. I'm the production dramaturg on the show.
Hey, I'm Evan Ruggiero. I'm playing the Beast.
I'm Jade Jones, and I'm playing Belle.
I'm really excited to get to talk to you guys just about what it's like to play these roles and the central themes in our show. And I kind of want to start off just talking broadly about the idea of beauty and what's beautiful in our culture today. Obviously, beauty standards are constantly changing and shifting, and what we see in the media often dictates what we find beautiful. So I kind of just want to hear you talk about what beauty means to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go first?
No.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay. It's you see in the media all these like images portrayed, like you said, men with like 8-pack abs and long flowy hair and bulging muscles, and here's a great example. You look at Hollywood and Marvel movies, and it's like that's what you have to look like. You want to be in a Marvel movie, this is what you have to be. You have to train every single day. You have to look like this. And I've never had that, that look, that lifestyle, and then post-amputation of my right leg after cancer, like that was never gonna be me. And so, I used to think of all the roles that I wanted to play in my life, and if that was ever a possibility, later years down the road. And when I met Marsha, and Marsha was telling me about her idea for this show, I was like, wow, like this is gonna be different. This is gonna be so cool. I get to play a prince, and I have one leg, and I get to play this iconic role, and I also get to play the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie. This is one of the first Disney movies I saw, and I absolutely played out the VHS every single day. I ran around the house screaming, "It is forbidden," and it's just really exciting that I don't have to. I can go back to thinking the way I did before my amputation and say, hey, just because I have one leg doesn't mean I can't play that role. So I'm really excited about
that. For me, beauty has always been defined through the Western eye, with the Western influence, Western culture, and even in so many different communities and ethnicities, it's like we strive to get that look. We relax our hair to make it straighter, or we in some cultures they even brighten their skin to make it a little more fair, and that's all because that's what we see on TV. It's because the Western influence, the Eurocentric influence has really put its mark and its stamp on the media. And of course, if that's what we're seeing in the media, if that's what we're seeing on commercials, if that's what we're seeing in our favorite TV shows, if the person that we're listening to, that we're idolizing, has straight hair and is thin and whatever, that's what we kind of set ourselves. We set our own standards for ourselves sometimes, and we say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to look like. But really, and I don't mean to be cliche, but I'm starting to learn through life experience and just growing up that beauty is really, it starts from within. And I've met so many people that are just so beautiful inside and out, and really like their spirit radiates and shines through, and that's what really makes them beautiful. The outside stuff is decoration, but beauty starts with your soul. So that's how I kind of define it.
Yeah, I think, and you kind of touched on this, Evan, as an actor, you hear a lot in like casting workshops in school, like you have to find your type. What's your type? Which is essentially like your role in the American theater, the kind of role you're going to play over and over and over again. And then how that fits into how you brand yourself and how you market yourself, because you're going to market yourself as that type. And I'm curious to hear you guys talk to like as it relates to your careers, do you feel like you have a type? Is that helpful? Is that a helpful way to think about acting? Should we get rid of that idea?
Yeah, I don't think it's helpful at all. I mean, I think people need to realize acting is acting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that actual person. I am portraying that person.
Right.
And even in shows like Beauty and the Beast, for example, this is a fairy tale. Why do you need to stick to one character type to play a character?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So I think types, and I think there's good and bad types, right? Because we don't want, like, I would never play like Bloody Mary in South Pacific. You know what I mean? Like that's like I think it's different with race, but I don't think that. You know, I think anybody can play a character because you're playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of buzz on this, you know, can you play this if you're not disabled? Can you play this if you are disabled? And everything. And I have always found myself being on this side of, well, why can't I play that part? How come I'm not getting the opportunity? You know, is it because somebody on the other side of the table is saying, I don't really know what to do with this. You know what I mean? It's just like that feeling of like, oh, I don't want that headache of having to choreograph somebody with one leg or block someone with one leg or I really thought that this scene would look like this and that's just not going to work because that actor can't get down on the ground that way. And so there, you know, like going back to what you said about type and seeing myself as, you know, kind of growing up, I guess kind of feeling like I had to be like that leading man type. I always wanted to play the funny roles and the fun parts and the things that are quirky and different. And now I feel like having one leg, I get to do that more. It's just, and I want to play into it. But at the same time, I would love to tackle some of those roles that are also those, you know, leading man prince types. Just to show that, yeah, it doesn't matter that I'm missing a leg. And that's what I love about this process right now, is that we get to play these roles that are just, you know, here's what they are.
Right.
And here we are.
I know. I feel like I was always, and I put myself in a box of playing like the sidekick or the one that comes in and has the funny one-liners. Like, I'm so comfortable with that track.
Right.
And this is completely different. This is my first lead, and it's in a type that I would not normally Let me take that back. I have to stop saying I would not normally be cast as this, because who? You know, I'm not going to be cast as Belle at certain theaters because they look at they want like the aesthetic. They want things to be aesthetically beautiful on the eye. But first of all, I believe that I am beautiful on the eye. But also, there's just so much more to that. And it's like, just because you look the part doesn't mean you can play the part. So this whole type thing, this whole putting people into the box of the leading man and leading lady, I think it's so poisonous to this industry. Especially now, we have so much more of an understanding of gender and sexuality and all of that. And I just think that old Broadway mentality of putting people into a box and edit this part out. How do you say the word? Compartmentalizing?
Compartmentalizing.
Thank you. And putting people into a box and
Compartmentalizing.
and compartmentalizing? No.
Compartmentalizing.
And compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And compartmentalizing is dangerous. And it takes us a step back for all the progress that we've made in the industry.
Yeah. It also allows us to grow as actors and individuals. And I'll just tell you a story. When I was, you know, when they reached out to me about this production and they said, hey, we'd like you to read for The Beast. I was like, The Beast. I was like, well, can I also read for Lumiere?
Right.
Because in my head, I was like, like tap dance with one leg, candlestick, peg leg, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I put myself in that in that compartment, in that box, and I was like, yeah, this is just what everybody wants. Everybody just wants to see me tap dance. They just want me to do this. They want me to do that. And the team said, yeah, sure, you could read for Lumiere. And I prepared Lumiere, and I prepared the Beast. I prepared all the songs for both. And I went to the audition, and we started out with Lumiere, and that was fine. And then we did the Beast, and then I remember leaving the audition and just saying, man, I really hope I'm the Beast. I was so excited because I completely transformed into this character and said, I do not want to do the thing that I'm comfortable with.
Right.
And that's cool.
And that's another thing, that your audition experience was very similar to mine. Mm-hmm. I was told, hey, we would love for you. Are you available for this show? We would love for you to be in the show. We just don't know where we want to put you yet. And I'm thinking, oh, Mrs. Potts, or I don't know, Mrs. Potts. And I was like, well, sure, I'm available. And a couple days later, casting contacted me and they said, we want you to read for Belle. And I was like, what? Like, what is this silly production that they're trying to put on? But like, also, like, crazy me for even, like, that is the mentality that has been beaten into my head. It was just like, really? You want me to read for Belle? And then when I came in and read it, I was like, it was the same thing. I was like, wow, like, this is a challenge for me. It's putting me out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, it's speaking to my soul, and it really works. And I left the audition saying, man, I hope I get it.
Yeah. See, well,
and I didn't. But I'm kidding.
No, it's right. You were already cast as Belle by the time I auditioned.
Yeah.
Because I went to my audition. And Marsha was like, oh my God, we cast Jade Jones, and she showed me your photo. I was like, yes, like this is amazing. And then I remember, like shortly after, like I was like, man, I really hope I'm the Beast, because like this is gonna be so cool. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
I just felt like
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's
ready for change.
It's a story. It's a story, and this is our telling of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's so embroiled in the dramaturgy too, because we think, okay, Disney, I know Disney. I've seen the Disney show. I've seen the 1991 film. But Beauty and the Beast didn't even start with Disney.
Right.
It's a 1740s French fairy tale.
Right.
And it goes back even further. So our version is just...
we can talk about Disney.
Yeah. Let's talk about Disney. That's right here on the cue card. Disney, I feel like Disney has defined like what a prince and a princess looks like for generations. And it's hard to overstate like the impact of Disney's iconography and their influence, not just in America, but like all over the world.
Sure.
So I kind of want to talk about like how it feels to play a character, knowing that there's children coming to see this show, who for them this might be their first time seeing Beauty and the Beast or their first time seeing it on stage. Like, how does it feel for you guys to be like literally redefining like that Disney iconography on stage for these kids?
It feels bigger than me. It feels like as a person that's doing it, I don't even know the magnitude of the impact that it's going to have on the children that come to see it. I will say I went to the gym yesterday and I was talking to a personal trainer and I said, oh yeah, I'm doing a show down the street at the Only Theater. I'm doing Beauty and the Beast. And he was like, what are you playing? And I was like, oh, I'm playing Belle. And he was, let me just say he was black. So, but he said, they have a black Belle? And I was just like, yeah. But like, my point in saying that is like, that is such a concept that is so foreign to so many people. And I'm just so happy, I guess. Happy is just like for lack of a better word, that I get to be that I get to set the standard for this princess for a lot of kids, adults that have never seen the show. And that when they think of a princess, when they think of a beautiful Disney princess, they're going to think of a plus-size Black woman. And that is, I don't know if that will actually hit me. Maybe far after this process, but right now I'm just kind of living it, and I'm just kind of trying to do the best I can, because I know that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me, than something that I can just put on my resume.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited that children will get to see me on stage, and that we can just celebrate who we are. We're not the cookie cutter images that you look at the box or the poster of what Disney shows, and hey, here we are, we're playing these two big roles, and this is us. I'm also very excited to get so the children are going to come to the show, they're going to see it. I think they're going to be really excited to see it. It's the parents. It's seeing what the parents say and how they react and what their influence is on their children, because children aren't they don't grow up with this with hatred in them, with like this look in their eyes of like I need to not talk to that person because they're different. It's kind of like a passed on they learn it through their parents, and a parent could say to a kid, oh, don't talk to that person because they have one leg, or don't talk to them because they're in a wheelchair, because they're different. And kids just grow up like that, saying, okay, I'm not supposed to talk to that person because they're different and they don't fit what my family fits, or the friends who I go to school with fit. So I'm very interested to see what impact this has on that generation, to then see what they take from it and how they grow from it, because they are the ones who are like, oh, this is what Disney is supposed to look like. And they get to come see this show, and they get to really think about it and understand the themes that we're trying to convey. But the children, I know, are going to be excited about it, and it has all the fun songs and dances in it. And also, I mean, it's such a different time now with I think it's COVID and talking to people after the show. I don't think that happens anymore. But I mean, hopefully we're out and someone's like, hey, I saw you in that show, and or something like that, and to just to have an actual conversation with them about it. Kids are always interested in my legs, and they say, hey, you're like Iron Man. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, yeah, like you can relate to that. Like, that's different. And as opposed to when I first lost my leg, I was going through chemo, and I had no hair, and I remember looking at myself and just being like, wow, I look crazy, and I'm also missing a leg, and I was kind of negative some of the times, and I was sitting in a wheelchair, and the kids were kind of pointing at me and saying, hey, look at the robot, and I would completely shut down. And then I remember doing this assembly as my hair started to grow back, and talking to kids about cancer and what I went through, and someone said, so you have a leg like Iron Man, right? And I was like, yeah. And that's when I was like, yeah, like, this is cool. Like, this kid can relate to what I'm going through because of, one of his superheroes. So it made me feel like a superhero too. I was like, yeah. So like, kids are going to come to this show and be like, wow, those are our superheroes up there.
That's beautiful.
Kids.
Children.
Yeah, I think what you guys have both said and touched on throughout this is like, we're not losing sight of the fact that like, this story is so fun, and it's so playful, and it's got so many like great themes about what it means to be kind, what it means to have empathy. And I'm curious, like, just stepping into these roles that maybe you didn't see yourself in originally. Maybe you saw yourself as a candlestick or a teapot, but here we are. What have you guys learned? Stepping into these roles, what has it taught you so far?
It has taught me to be an example for younger actors in their career, because now I'm a lead, and we have an ensemble of a lot of younger people where this might be their first big show. And stepping into that role of a lead is a certain responsibility that I feel to my entire cast and my entire team, where I feel like you're only as good as your lead, and I'm really just trying to be the best I can be, so that my team can lean on me and know that they have their bell, and I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna push through, and we're gonna get through this show together, and I'm gonna tell this story, and so just really, I would say, just being Jade, being an example and being present.
Yeah, and this cast is awesome. They're so great. We had our Act 1 run through yesterday, and I was just like, this is going to be so good on stage, and with the costumes and the lights and everything, oh my gosh, everyone is literally a star in the show. And the ensemble is like, boom, 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 like pounding out every single dance number, all these characters.
Yeah, I have so much to say about the lead life. It's a lonely life.
It is, right?
The lead life is a lonely life. I didn't realize being an ensemble member, you're like 5 or 6 different characters.
I know.
You're here, you're there, you're everywhere, and then being a lead, I'm just one character. Yeah. I feel very one note. And I feel, I had come in after they've all done like a 2-hour dance rehearsal, everybody's sweating, and I'm like, hey, y'all.
I only started coming to rehearsals this week.
Yeah, right. I'm like, hey. I'm very much used to being in a show and being very social and like the social chair of the cast and like, da-da-da-da-da. But being Belle, being the lead, it's a little different. Mm-hmm. I have to take care of myself, of course, my mind and my body, which causes me to kind of isolate a little bit. But then I'm naturally being isolated by the rehearsal schedule as well. Right. So, yeah.
I have definitely learned to trust myself more and trust my instincts, and I guess falling into that box of what we were talking about before of like leading man has always just, it feels like one style of acting, of like this just, this guy, he's gonna, it's this or that, and it's like, it all just feels the same. I hate to like use a reference here, but like, it feels like Melchior Spring Awakening, 2007. Yeah. Like, cause that show came out. And I was like, wow, like this is such a cool show. See, I always saw myself as like, I want to be Moritz, but I fell into these like kind of Melchior parts, and then I was like, okay, like that's the kind of way that I have to act, I guess. And they all kind of follow that that trajectory of style of acting, and then you come into this where it's just a whole lot of fun and I get to play an animal. And that's really cool. An animal who's a prince, and he's got one leg, and there's like so much that's different about how he moves and how I move in my everyday life, which is so exciting, and to get to explore that and to just make choices that I don't normally get to make is fun. And then to just play off of, to you and Lumiere and Cogsworth and everybody else, like that is really exciting. And learning to trust myself in that process has been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what you're saying about the leading man, and something that I noticed Marsha saying early on in rehearsals, it really is just the words on the page.
Yeah.
It's not us or the actors play acting as these Disney princes and princesses, as these typical Disney roles that we've seen. Right. It's like, no, it's you. Mm-hmm. And whatever you naturally bring to that role is a prince and is a princess. And that's that. On that.
And that's on period.
Okay, the last question that I have for you guys, just to sort of close us out.
Okay.
What are you guys most hopeful the audiences are going to take away from our Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, I gotta go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I really just want them to look at this show with fresh eyes and just. They're like we said earlier, they're going to enjoy it. There's going to be the fun, big song and dance numbers that they know, but I really want them to see these characters for who they are and to go on that journey with us you know, whether it's the Beast's journey and he's learning how to be a human again, or Belle's journey. I'll let you talk about Belle's journey. That's not mine. But you know, to really just take in the story with fresh eyes and you know, have fun, just to be ready to explore something new, and they're gonna love it. They really will.
Yeah.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, and also just kind of reiterate that I hope that for a lot of people this is their first time seeing the show, or seeing the movie or whatever, and I just hope that they walk away feeling good about themselves, and feeling beautiful, and feeling empowered to celebrate their flaws and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Of course.
Thank you.